Ladies and gentlemen, now last week Dave from Dorklessons flew over to the Kabam offices in Vancouver to have a bit of a sit down with some of the developers on Marvel Contest of Champions and ask your questions submitted on the Dorklessons channel. So today, courtesy of Dave, man, because he's allowing me to use some of this footage and do a reaction and breakdown video, we're going to be having a look at some of the questions, some of the answers, and talking about some of the new information that Kabam revealed during this interview. So let's get into some of the clips.
Contest of Champions is rigged, fixed, manipulated, gerrymandered.
Well, there wasn't too much new information in that clip, just stuff we already know, so let's move on to the next one.
We are going to be implementing dual targets. So you'll notice in game, players can't use the player name like Wolverine. So we're going to be setting up, player accounts. Well, not player accounts, but there'll be Kabam-owned accounts called Wolverine that you'll be able to easily go and search for, and it'll give you the maxed out version of the top version initially to be able to go and duel against. So that's going to save players a ton of time trying to find the right dual target. You won't have to search Google anymore. It should save a lot of headaches.
Now, this is one feature I'm actually really looking forward to, just because at the moment it's such a pain with the duel bots, because people rank up champions so much quicker than they used to, and profiles shift on like a monthly basis. So a lot of the duel bots are very outdated when you want to practice against a certain champion and get a little bit of confidence before going into a matchup. So yeah, really happy. I think this is going to be a great feature.
What is the future vision for lesser and greater solo crystals? They haven't been relevant in years now, and we get them for everything.
Yeah, we know solo events are a little bit stale. Right now, there's no plans on changing them. It's one of those things, looking at the goals of why we added them in the first place. Arguably, solo objectives and other modes in the game now do it a lot better. So actually, the potential is that we might cut them and remove them from the game just because, the original goals are no longer being met.
Look at my 25 units off of that thing, man.
That's true.
I get it. But I don't like the 7-hour ones because there's just like nothing that I really want from there.
Right.
But I like the units. So will those units go somewhere else?
Well, I mean, that's in part why they haven't been removed yet. Like when we take them out, players would want like, where's that? Where, like that was something I was getting and now I'm not getting anymore. So that's the problem with like removing some of that stuff too, right? Like we'd have to figure out, okay, well, if we're removing that, what are we replacing it with? Right. Some sort of like daily solo objectives, some sort of like, another way to kind of achieve what they originally were trying to do, which was, get people to log in and check out what's going on and then try to, do special objectives. Something different every day.
Now, I think most people can agree that the solo events are a little bit stale and they've been in the game for a very, very long time. However, the big thing for so many players is it just gives you a revive, which is pretty much the equivalent of 40 units in terms of its function, and also 25 units on top of that as well for stuff that a lot of players do on a daily basis anyway. So if they did want to remove these, they would have to have something equivalent or better. So, I think to charge in straight away with we want to remove solo events, definitely got a few ears prickled up there, but it's nice to know that they're very aware of the fact that if they were going to remove this stuff, they would need to replace it with an equivalent. And these solo events are still really, really good for a lot of free-to-play players. So yeah, I kind of hope that they don't go away and they just add stuff on top of it or kind of revamp them a little bit more, because I think they do still provide a really good function for a lot of players out there.
So we've already started playtests for the Hulkbuster update. He will be sort of released into the beta in April and then released to the whole sort of wide community in June. As far as what we're hoping for the changes, what you can expect, we definitely want to sort of amp up his tanky defensive abilities, give him some new tricks on offense. And we're also very much aware that he's a 6-star champion. So we want to make sure that we kind of deliver on a cool, powerful champion that's available at that level.
Now, it's very nice to know that the Hulkbuster buff is coming and hasn't been forgotten about. I'm very, very excited for it myself, but I also think, everybody votes for these champions, not because they want to be annoyed fighting them, but because they really want to enjoy playing them. So if that could be, the key focus, ramping up the offense, making sure they are tanky champions and can survive, and I think overall they did a really good job with the Colossus revamp, man. He's just such a fun champion to play, and also a little bit of an annoying defender, but not like a massive pain as well. So I still have really high hopes for the Hulkbuster buff, and hopefully they do him some great justice.
What would a strain on economy look like? Like, what does that mean? Because the last time we talked about gold, and Keith was touching on, that doesn't fit in the economy of the game. And we got a few snarky comments. I saw you guys about what that is. So I want to try to maybe open up how just giving out 500,000 gold to everyone, every like 2 weeks is something that would not be good for the game and for the economy.
So we have a big problem in the game right now, especially at the early level, is that the players are growing fast vertically, like really fast. We know that even at the beginning of the game, 3-star and 4-stars are almost becoming irrelevant, and they're jumping into 5-stars right away. If we give out more gold, if we give out more catalyst, more shards, we're basically keeping all the beginning of the game. And if we make the beginning of the game irrelevant, players are not invested enough in the game to continue playing. And we don't want a game that's boring. We want to challenge them. We want them to be able to enjoy every fight. And if we give them too much power, they're just going to cruise through all the fights in a 5-hit combo and just going to take a long time to go through the levels and without being challenged.
Now, this question about gold availability goes back to the first QA that Dave did with Kabam a few months ago, where people asked about the general availability of gold, because at least in my view and opinion, the availability of 4-star, 5-star, and 6-star champions is so much more than it used to be. So a lot of that stuff has been massively increased. If you're a fairly active player, you're getting a lot more champions than you did, say, 2 years ago. However, in comparison, the availability of gold has pretty much not been increased at all. It's about the same level. You have certain pieces of content, like Variant, for example. You go through, get 500,000 gold, you explore chapters, 100,000, and you explore it all, and you get 1,000,000 gold. But a single 5-star champion, if you want to rank all the way up, is like just over 3 million gold there, and leveling up 6-star champions, just initially, man, not even ranking them up, is like 500,000 gold, and that's like 1,000,000 and a bit to rank to as well. So gold is just such a needed resource for a lot of players, and there just hasn't been like a meaningful way to get a lot more gold, or the gold you need. And going through the game and having a second free-to-play account, like the availability of champions is just so much more available than it was on like Whale Milker 27, on Whale Milker 3000. But the problem is, I'm getting all these champions, all these resources as well. I've got everything I need apart from the golden ISO, and I think that's a struggle that a lot of people have playing this game as well, is they're getting so many champions, but they don't have just the very basic resources they need to actually fully upgrade these champions. And on Whale Milker, man, it's a prime example, because I got Clairvoyant, I got her at rank 5, I had tier 2 alpha expiring, so I needed to push the champion to rank 5. But now I don't have like anywhere near the amount of gold and ISO I need to level her up for at least like a month and a bit. So it's just really, really annoying. And on top of that, I've got like 2 unleveled 6-star champions and loads of additional like 5-star champions I want to rank and level up, and I have the resources for them. I just don't have the gold and ISO. So that is a big frustration that was seemingly like a bit sidestepped in that question. At the start, Dave specifically asked about gold and why it would be bad to give all the players more gold, like 500,000 as an example. And then I'm not too sure if he misunderstood the question, but he starts talking about like why you shouldn't give early game players like 5-star champions, because they're just going to ignore 3 and 4-star ones. So I don't know if there's a bit of a confusion there, but Dave goes back again and pushes the question on gold.
Okay. And last point on that, so the pushback that we get on that is, well, that makes no sense, because people can just spend money and buy as many crystals as they want, and then therefore just keep on getting as much gold, or they can just spend as much time in the arena as possible and just like, grind up, as much gold as possible. So the counter argument is they might not see that point because people like this exist. How does that look in the overall scope of the game in the economy?
So if we're talking specifically about gold, yes, you can buy as much gold as you want. But if we're talking about champions, that's not really true. Like if you're pre-uncollected players, you actually can't buy as many 5-star as you want. You have to go through at least the 4-star, reaching uncollected, and then be able to reach the 5-star. Same stuff for the catalyst. you can't really buy the catalyst except for the offers or from the glory store. And to have the glory necessary, you need to play AVA, so you need to have a good roster before being able to buy those rewards and those items. So except for gold and perhaps ISO, all the other items, they kind of tie to your progression, and you want to keep it that way. We don't want to set 5-star to contender players, for instance.
Good, thank you.
So before firing this back, Dave uses 2 examples. He's like, you can, infinitely grind arena to get gold. You can infinitely buy gold. Gold. All those questions are about gold. And then you just get a response about like champion availability, 4-star, 5-star champions, and rank up resources as well. Where Dave he's trying to push gold, man. You see it in him, and he's just not getting anything back. So I think this is a very frustrating point of the video for a lot of players to watch, just because it seemed like very sidestep there. So yeah, it's just a bit annoying.
If you have further questions about that, just keep popping them, and I'll keep asking them. Because that's going to come up again. I guarantee there's going to be
no problem.
There's going to be more questions.
I just love how at the end Dave looks at the camera. He's just like, keep popping those questions. Like, I'm sure we're going to see that one again, because I don't think there was a real satisfactory answer there. I think the question is maybe a little bit more elaborate, and maybe I need to write this out. I'll write in the comments section next time, man. But it needs to be like, with the increased champion roster, availability, progression pace, is there any way that mid-tier players in Master, Uncollected, around Act 5, Act 6, can get a more meaningful increase to the gold that they gain on a monthly basis? It's something along those lines, but there does need to be a, at least in my opinion, a more meaningful increase to the amount of gold and ISO you can get in this game, because it really is falling behind.
Sort of a loadout system or a mastery page system where you can kind of set up stuff in advance and then be able to swap between pages sort of easier than having to refund a whole tree and then go back through that process. Swapping mastery pages is something that we're actively working on right now. We have designs for it where it's going through its paces. There's no sort of announced release for that yet because we're still going through the process of making sure that it kind of satisfies all its goals and makes everyone happy. But that specific issue of mastery respecing is something that we're working on right now.
So this is a feature that I'm really surprised and really excited to see that they're actually finally working on, because previous years at Comic-Con I've asked about kind of this stuff happening, and like I've always been met with a response like, oh, it's going to be close to impossible. So to hear that they're actively working on this and trying to make it a reality is just really exciting. I think the ability to swap between like a regular mastery build and suicide mastery build, and maybe have even further like custom mastery builds for certain champions that emphasize stuff like Fury, it's just really, really exciting. So I really hope we see this feature at some point in the next year or so, but again, it doesn't have a timeline, so it might be even longer than that.
The follow-up from the last video, they asked about Cavalier Difficulty, and you guys said coming soon. So I'm following up on when soon actually is.
So are we talking about the one-shot?
Yes. So the one-shot is a monthly EQ for...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can say that it's coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a timeline yet, but I can say that it's gonna come in 2020.
Coming in 2020. Okay. Is that, can we know first half or second half, or is that still undecided?
That's still undecided.
Still undecided. Okay. So I'll ask again in like May. Just keep asking. All right. So this one's coming in from Vox. When will the monthly EQ uncollected rewards be updated?
So if we're talking strictly about increased reward, the short answer is probably never, or at least not anytime soon. We're going to update the rewards soon, but as I said, it's going to be an update, not an increase. And it's in the same continuation as what I said earlier about splitting PRG and the reward.
What is PRG?
Campaign progression.
Okay.
That means all the Act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.2, and 6.1.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, on top of that, the new difficulty will come where all the Cavalier players and above will be able to get the items here.
So I'm absolutely pumped for Cavalier Difficulty, man. I cannot wait to see what the difficulty is going to be like and what the rewards are going to be like, and I think it's really going to help to refresh a lot of the monthly events as well. But again, one thing I really do want to see is an additional level of difficulty on like the side events, stuff like Love is a Battle Round 3. I'd love to see like a Nightmare Edition, like above Epic, for the really, really hardcore players, man. So again, that's just my dream, but Cavalier Difficulty, I'm very, very excited, and to hear that it is coming this year, like, I can't wait for it.
Yeah. So we totally understand why Nexus and Focus Crystals are super interesting to players. I mean, that's sort of why we built them, because we were internally super excited about building them. There's no plans on making them regular or normal. Like, we want them to be special and unique, so that, you know, it's exciting to get one or to acquire one. So yeah, there's no plans to make them like replace all the crystals in the game with Nexus versions.
What kind of events can we expect to see that come out of? Is that like a holiday event, like a Black Friday type of thing, or?
Yeah, probably more of the, you know, Black Friday, the big sales. If it's going to go into rewards, it would be like big end rewards, like Abyss, act rewards, that type of thing, like some sort of big reward. Or in offers.
So it seems they want to be, again, a bit conservative with the Nexus Crystals, man, which is unfortunate to hear, because I wish that they would just replace the Cavalier Crystals or Cavalier Nexus Crystals. That would make all the Cavalier Crystal openings 10 times more hype. But I also kind of get the, you know, objective to make them like very rare, very exciting rewards to open. But I do think they missed a massive opportunity in the Abyss of Legends to add in 6-star Nexus Crystals. He even mentioned like the Abyss would be a perfect place for a Nexus Crystal, but you know, maybe Abyss of Legends too. Like, it just got smashed through so quickly that I think, well, hopefully they are working on Abyss of Legends 2 or you know, Realm of Legends 4, however you want to classify it, in the slightly longer term as well. But yeah, Axex 100% hope to see some Nexus Crystals, maybe future variants as well. I think would be a very, very nice place to have them. But again, the more Nexus Crystals, the better, so I'm all for them absolutely everywhere they can be.
What plans are coming that maybe you don't know about that they're most excited about?
I mean, my answer is easy. We just got a lot of sweet champions coming out. Like, they're all cool and I love them, but I don't want to say who they are yet. So keep your eyes peeled.
Oh, okay. Well, you got me excited.
So the improvements that I'm looking most forward to are some of the sweet tools that we are looking at for alliance leaders.
Very cryptic teaser here, but you know, more stuff to help the hardworking officers and alliance leaders is always very welcome.
Okay, on my end, I'm most excited about we're working the early game progression, and it's gonna make a huge difference for the new players.
Ah, nice.
I'm a bit curious to see what some of the reworks to the early game look like, because again, they mentioned the early game players apparently having too much power already and skipping out on 3 and 4-star champions. So yeah, I'm not too sure, man, but hopefully it's stuff to kind of engage newer players a bit more and just make the game a bit more fun, a bit more challenging from the get-go potentially. But obviously you don't want stuff to be like too overwhelming, too difficult, but maybe they're gonna do some stuff to spice up the story, make it a little bit more fun. So yeah, I'm curious. I've got an open mind, and hopefully there's gonna be some good stuff coming from that.
And Kabam Jones says that the new dungeon improvements are the most fun game mode in the contest 2020. So hyping that up. Yeah, players are gonna be really excited when they see the improvements.
Yeah,
and
I'm excited. I've already seen them.
Now, this is something that I'm actually really, really excited for, because I always thought, like, back in the day, dungeons, for the mode of gameplay that they designed, had huge potential, but it was, like, massively underutilized, and just a little bit boring. The rewards, like, weren't interesting enough, and nowadays, dungeons are okay. They're not the worst mode of gameplay, but they're having a massive revamp. So, Dorklessons tweeted out, most of you know I don't really play dungeons. It's definitely not one of my favorites, but I played an improved version of Dungeons at Kabam HQ, and yeah, I'll be playing it for sure. And then Scott, one of the initial designers on Dungeons, said, I worked on the very first version of Dungeons, and the newest version is so close to our blue sky scenario, it's kind of scary. I've been dreaming of that version of the mode since then, and I can't wait for you all to see it. It's hella fun. And Kabam John, who I class as a fairly knowledgeable player, he's not quite as good as me or some of the other Kabam developers, but he's okay. He can pull it out of the bag on certain situations. He thinks it's the best game mode 2020. And also in the video, Keith did mention about like a little bit earlier, if you do watch the full QA on Dorklessons channel, that they're working on new modes of gameplay. So there's maybe some additional stuff coming as well. Not going to be fun as Dungeons Revamp, according to Kabam John, but I'm curious to see what else is going to be landing in Marvel Contest of Champions this year, and I'm very excited about what the revamped version of Dungeons could bring to the game, because yeah, I think infinite scaling difficulty, man, if done in a right way, if done in an interesting way, rewarding way, it's going to be really, really fun. So I'm curious to see. I'm very, very curious to see. Now, overall, I think this is a fantastic segment, and I just want to say I really appreciate Kabam kind of opening up, because previously they've been very closed to a lot of this stuff, and I also appreciate Dorklessons for going out there and taking the time to make these videos, record them, because it's a lot of effort on his behalf as well. So we need to give some mad love to Dorklessons. If you want to check out his channel, check out the video, drop a like, drop a sub. Links to his channel will be in the top pinned comment and also the description of this video. But again, while I may not, appreciate every answer, I really appreciate the willingness on Kabam's end to kind of open up a dialogue with the community and have kind of like Dorklessons as the in the middle man kind of passing on the questions. And I also appreciated that Dorklessons, a lot of occasions, if you watch the full video, he throws a lot of stuff back to them as well. So we're not always going to get the answers that we want, but it's nice to see Dave making such a great effort to push a lot of their top issue questions to some of the Kabam developers and people that work on this game. So yeah, I think it's a great initiative overall, man. I always really, really appreciate stuff like this, and I think via this segment we learned a lot of valuable information for the future, and it's got me excited for some of the stuff to come in 2020. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you did enjoy today's video, please do smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Aside from that, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.